Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on the report of findings. I'm really excited about it. This is my most favorite subject about the report of findings. So I'm really excited and looking forward to sharing this with you. We're going to start in a few minutes. I'm waiting for people to join us. There's been over 600 people who registered for the webinar. Hopefully, most of those people will be able to get into today's training. In a few moments, we'll start that training. This is my favorite subject and what I believe to be the single greatest patient education tool to power your practice, to generate new patients, and get them to commit to more care every single time that you use it. The information that I'm going to be going through today is going to be pretty dense. So I'm asking you right now to open up a new page on your computer, get out a piece of paper and take notes, because I'm sure you remember forgetting some magical point combination that you were taught at some seminar in the past and you forgot to write it down, and you were kind of bummed that you wanted to go back to your practice and use it, but you weren't able to because you forgot. It happened to me. So that's why I want you to take notes. There's really good stuff here. I don't want you to miss out on it. I'm going to be going over the report of findings that I've given to hundreds of patients since 2002 and that I've helped other acupuncturists use successfully in their practice. And if you can walk away with just one ROF nugget today that I'll be sharing with you, just one of them, you'll see some changes in your practice and in your patient retention. So I'm going to give you all a few minutes. You're commenting on where you're all calling in from. So far, we've got the furthest away that I know is somebody who's calling in from Israel. That's fantastic. It's nighttime there. And so if you guys want to just put in here, introduce yourselves. How long have you been in practice for? And where are you practicing? And what are your biggest struggles and frustrations that you're finding in practice now? And how could I best help you with that? And what kind of things are you looking to get, not only out of today's webinar, but from these First Thursday marketing trainings? How best can I tailor this information to you to help you find greater success in your practice so you could help more people, change more lives, and through that, change the world? So welcome. You chose to be here on today's training, and I want to congratulate you. You chose to show up. You chose to learn. You chose to stretch your marketing awareness. You could have been doing anything else. You could have been doing so much more, but instead you're here. And trust me, I know how hard it can be to get your practice started. And I know how hard it can be to keep patients from falling out of care, because when I started my practice back in 1998, I had no idea how to attract new patients, how to explain my care to them, and how to keep them from falling out of care. But learning the report of findings is critical to any practice. And I'm really glad that I'm going to be sharing that with you in a few minutes. I don't care if you're just starting out or if you've had a huge practice and you've been in practice for over 10 years. If you're not doing the report of findings, then I really believe that you're missing out on a huge piece of practice success and patient management. And what I'm about to share with you is so important today that and again, I'm really glad that you're here. Let me know, are you using the report of findings? If you are, put yes, ROF in the chat box. If you aren't, put no ROF in the chat box here. And I assume that since you are on today's call, that you are interested in learning about the report of findings and hopefully using that in your practice. Okay, so awesome. 22 years, Rose. Fantastic. 17 years, Deborah. You've been in practice. Fantastic. Your biggest struggle is retention and how to educate more clients. Well, on today's webinar, I will go into some of that information. The report of findings can be a really important piece of that. Will you have access to the webinar at the end? Possibly. No ROF, no ROF, no ROF. Well, welcome and congratulations then for joining me on the ROF training. Hopefully you'll walk away with some nuggets or possibly even working with me to master your reported findings. I'll share a little bit of that with you towards the end of today's training. Let's see, there was a question here. I forget what it was. Okay. Okay. So the kind of things I'm going to be sharing with you today are so important that you'll be able to answer the 5 main questions that every patient has. Even if they never ask them, you'll still need to answer them in order to keep them in care. Today's training will also provide you with a timeline of care and how you can best explain that to your patients that they'll find believable. And this alone will increase the number of times a patient comes to see you. Today's training will help encourage a deeper awareness of why your patients are seeing you. It will arm your patients with powerful patient education, which translates into more consistent word-of-mouth referrals. Now, it'll get them to commit to long-term care, which I guess I don't really need to say more about long-term care, which that's our ultimate goal, is to get patients to commit to long-term care. And it will help position you as the go-to practitioner. So when something goes wrong, that these people, your patients or your prospective patients, will know who to turn to in their time of need. And today's training will also help provide some organization and systematization to your practice, and it'll help establish that trust, that bond. It'll create happier, more satisfied patients that will keep coming back. One of the first things that we're going to do today is outline a simple step-by-step marketing structure that you can start implementing in your practice starting tomorrow. And if you stick around to the end of the training, you'll learn about the 5 questions, how to plant those seeds for long-term care, and how easy it is to get patients to book out multiple treatments in advance. And I'll also share with you what not to say to your patients to keep them from running out of your clinic and never coming back. And today I'm going to show you how to position yourself as that authority and how to ethically convert a patient from an average of 2 to 4 treatments into 10 or 12 treatments or more. It has nothing to do with selling. It just takes a magical piece of paper, and this magical piece of paper that I'm going to be sharing with you today, the report of findings and everything else that I'm going to be sharing with you, has the capacity to help transform your practice. I'm going to talk with you as if you're starting from scratch. I don't care if you've been in practice for 100 years or if you're just starting out. You know, I'm going to be pulling back the curtain and showing you everything that I do in my report of findings on this training today. And you'll be able to implement some of these ideas in your practice starting right now. And this will shift the momentum. This will give your practice structure, organization, and it'll build practice confidence and stability. Today's training is priceless. And that's the best part, is that it's free. And I'm giving you this great information that you can go ahead and use in your practice right away. I'm waiting for a couple more people to join us right here. We are getting to fill up around here. We have close to half of the people that are joining us that signed up for the training over here. I'm going to dive into the training in a moment, and I'll be answering your questions towards the end of the training. If you have questions, my suggestion is to jot them down now and take notes of those and then put those in towards the end of the training when I get to the Q&A part. Otherwise, they might get lost in the chat thread over here. I don't know if many of you know my history, but since 2002, I've been helping acupuncturists successfully use the report findings and to grow their practices through Acupuncture Media Works and our new service, which is AcuPerfect websites. But when I started out, I was desperate to launch my own practice. I wanted my schedule to fill up and new patients waiting in line to get care from me. I also wanted the freedom to work at one job, not take multiple jobs. I wanted to focus just on my practice. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to create my own path. But when I got out of school, I was scared. I was scared of the unknown. I was scared to take the leap. I was scared of failing. I was scared of not knowing how to talk to patients, how to get patients to commit to care, and even how to get referrals. but still my desire for full practice and freedom was so strong that I ventured out and jumped into all types of marketing activities. Well, most of those marketing activities totally tanked, and it was a terrible disappointment, but I had to make it work because I had student loans to pay for. I had college debt to get out from under and dreams of starting a family. I wanted to be the breadwinner, and I wanted, and I was the only one who was able to help me achieve my dreams. And I didn't have much money to invest in my business. So with a few $100s and pure will and determination, I coached with successful practitioners, attended business mastermind sessions, seminars, and I got focused. I thought that as soon as I got my license, opened my practice, that like magic, patients would line up, referrals would stream in, and my schedule would book out. But that's unfortunately further than the truth than you can be. I struggled, like many practitioners do, day in and day out. I started with what I knew about marketing and patient attraction, which was very little. So I embarked on this journey to learn from the best coaches, the marketing gurus, the mastermind mavens, to help me create the systems and protocols to help me achieve my practice goals. And within the first few months, I had that career-defining aha moment. From that moment on, with using the report of findings, patients began to commit to care. My schedule began to book out, and my practice started to blossom and grow. My aha was discovering how to create a simple system and practice protocol that leveraged the power of patient education so that I could move from my patients from being skeptical prospects to committed long-term patients that stay, pay, and refer. I still remember the day that I had my breakthrough. I'll never forget that feeling that I got when I knew that I can call my own shots and get people to commit to more care. All my new patients, my current patients, they were staying in care with me longer. My patient visit average went from 6 visits to up to 24 visits, and I was receiving 4 to 8 new patient referrals on a weekly basis just because I was giving the report of findings and giving it in such a compelling way that patients were really excited about it and were really excited about sharing it with other people that they came into contact with. My practice practically quadrupled over the course of a couple months, and my schedule was booked out months in advance. I was finally on my way toward building that powerful, steady, lucrative, and prosperous practice. Once I was able to overcome these all too common patient dropping out of care scenarios, right? We're all familiar with those. The patients come in, they see us for a few visits, and then they drop out of care. It's all too common. Once I overcame this issue, I decided to combine all this information into a single solution that would allow me to make keeping my patients in care longer. And it became a piece of cake. And I owe it all to learning how to give the report of findings. And this is what I want to share with you. The report of findings online training program that I'm going to be sharing with you towards the end of today's training will walk you through the exact steps that I do with my patients. There's nothing like that feeling of practice success, nothing like that feeling of freedom, nothing like that feeling of patients saying, yep, sign me up for 8 treatments, 10 treatments, 20 treatments, and so on. But here's the thing. You probably tried other marketing and other types of patient techniques and maybe have not had the results that you've been hoping for. And you may have been discouraged by those marketing efforts, and I totally understand. I was totally there. I understand. I failed miserably multiple times doing certain marketing efforts. And we were never given the right tools that would allow us to attract, to retain, and reactivate patients and grow our practice. We were given the great tools to become amazing diagnosticians, but we were never given the great tools that would allow us to really put those techniques and those protocols of being in practice